Hello and welcome back to another one of my videos, or as I like to call them now, one of my chronicles that I am doing, where I talk about my life and my travels and basically anything that would like to come up in my life, in my travels, in the places where I go to, in the things that I do, and what I am realizing and thinking of in my life, in my travels, in anywhere else in the world. So my name is Helena Halima. I have two names. Mostly I go by the name Helena, and I am a world traveler as well as a spiritualist of many, many types. As I say, it is anyway the Holy Spirit and the Holy Ghost of the world, which brings us all together. So to define it into different paths and different ways of enlightenment would be rather difficult, because there is many paths and they can all lead to enlightenment. They can all have so many different approaches that to actually reach it in this order, you can have paths put together to increase your possibilities of even finding out what it actually means. Because what I find is when you take only one path, and if you try to follow only the one path, then it can make things very, very difficult for you. It can make things extremely difficult. When you take several paths, I mean, if you are the type of a person who has the wits for it, if you have the wits to put together many paths in a way that you put the logic of it together, then you increase 100% your own possibility for the enlightenment. And this is a good thing. But if you get very pragmatic with it, and just dogmatic even, then this will make your life more difficult. So what I am realizing now is that because it is around 2 at night time and I am staying in an inn right now, so I'm trying to keep my voice pretty low, but I still hope that you're able to hear me. If you're not able to hear me, then I'm sorry about that. And I will try to do better next time. So I will try to put it a little bit closer, just to be sure that the microphone is a little bit closer. So I try to keep it low, but also high enough for you to hear me. So where I'm staying right now is in a little village in England. It's actually a place where there was filmed a scene in Harry Potter. This is the place where Harry Potter's school teacher, Professor Dumbledore's brother Aberforth, was living. It's an inn, and this is the mirror where in the 7th movie of Harry Potter, this was the mirror that was connecting the Aberforth'S inn to the room of requirement in the movies and as well as in the books, but this is where it was filmed. So from this mirror there, Harry and his friends came out to Aberforth'S Inn and also were able to go back to the room of requirement where they had this secret order. This secret order where they were protecting goodness in Hogwarts. They were protecting goodness in Hogwarts, in the School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. So this is the place where I'm staying right now, and I feel it's also very nice and symbolic, since the actor of Professor Dumbledore, who is Michael Gambon, died about 1 week ago. He passed away. So may he rest in peace and realize the supreme peace of Nirvana. So anyway, this is a pretty special place. And I feel like it's pretty appropriate to go back into making these type of talking videos as well as meditation ones. Just this night I was doing a meditation video as well, as I also like to make meditation videos, which are done in several places. I have done them in different countries and in different areas, just to encourage you also to meditate. So in the last video that I made, I also gave a little bit of instructions about meditation, and I also had a friend joining me. So it was very, very nice to meditate together with him. But when I go back to the topic that I actually wanted to talk about, then the topic was actually enlightenment. Enlightenment itself. Very, very simple topic. Or even a topic of self-realization, so to say. Because we can call it very different names. And when we get attached to only one path, for example a Buddhist path, because I have lived in Buddhist monastery, I feel like I can criticize this path a little bit. So what I would like to say is that when you are in Buddhist path, then the word enlightenment can make you very, very confused. But when you have not taken a single path and only realize it in your heart, because you have had special experiences or because something else has happened to you, maybe even a near-death experience that makes you realize these things, that makes you realize the nature and the truth of existence itself, then in this case, you probably don't follow a path after that. You probably don't follow a path because you have realized these things. And usually what happens is that you would also like other people to realize what it means to be enlightened and what it also means to share it with others, that there is possibility for it and that the world can be a lot better place than the realities that we are creating in our heads and in our crazy and scary minds. So what I would like to say is that to go back to the idea or the thoughts that I had about the Buddhist path I feel like the Buddhist path is very, very simple path, because in the path to arahantship, which is the high attainment in the Buddhist path, after that you can also choose the bodhisattva path to help other beings to realize enlightenment. And there are so many more things in Mahayana Buddhism about that, but I am not going there right now. And then also to go to the path to Buddhahood, which means that you have basically reached perfection itself. But right now I am talking about the path to arahantship, which is the highest attainment in the path, basically. So in the path to arahantship, this is very simple. You have 10 little things to let go of. And these 10 things are, first of all, you have a self-view, then you have a doubt in the teaching, then you have attachment to rites and rituals, meaning doing certain things in certain times just because you think they will make you more enlightened. Then you have anger or ill will towards other beings, living beings, or even towards yourself. Then you have greed, or like a desire to get something, to just to sort of a high desire, even a food desire can be there, like a greedy nature, like a rat always has to get something. Then you have conceit and arrogance. Let me put it like this: conceit or arrogance. This means like you're very proud of yourself. You are the highest being, and you have the biggest self-importance of all beings. This is very tough thing. Then you have restlessness, meaning that you are basically in a state of anxiety and not knowing what to do, what your plans are, and what your doings are, and how to go about them. Then there is ignorance of the truth, of the way things are, also about the dependent origination, which means that whatever you are doing, you are the heir to your own doing. Even the simple, slightest ideas and thoughts in your head, you are the heir to your own Dhamma, to your own way of life, your own teaching. And what I would like to add here is a very, very good teaching from one of the yoga traditions, which likes you to acknowledge all the time that I am my own guru. So I feel like this is also going very nicely together with this point. And then the last two are basically desiring existence or desiring non-existence, as if desiring birth in existence or birth in non-existence, which are actually something that you really, really like, because it's about desiring to be or desiring not to be, like Hamlet said. Like Hamlet said in one of his books, desire to be or not to be, which also comes down to the question of if you would like to be in this particular way or that particular way, or if you would like to not be at all, if you would like to just not exist at all, hide away from the society, be hidden inside the forest, or just sit in the corner of a room. And this can be also very, very difficult. But also one of the things that can actually lead you to the Buddhist path. As the people who desire not to be, who feel like their life is worthless, or even who feel so depressed. And here I would like to add that depression itself can be like a deep out breath, very deep desire not to be. Then these people are actually the ones that can be very much drawn to these paths to find the enlightenment, because they need to figure out the meaning of life. Why are they existing, and why is it that they so badly want to not exist? And it's really, really painful to be in these states. Super painful. So, in this place, and what I was also saying in my previous video, where I was sharing a little bit of instructions about meditation, and I was saying that you can have an in breath and you can have out breath. And with this, the very importance of the breath is that with every in breath, we are breathing in existence. And this is also together with the desire to be. Desire to be. You are breathing in, and then you are able to do something. Then you are actually able to feel that I am able to do something. It is possible for me to do something. It's like courage. You breathe in and you have a lot of courage. And at the same time, when you are breathing out, then it's like a relief that I don't have to do a single thing. There is nothing that I have to be doing. I don't have to be anybody. I don't need to do anything. But I can just focus on the diminishing. So when you are breathing in and out, and a lot of the people actually don't consciously think about their breath, which I find a little bit peculiar, but at the same time very motivating to talk about it. Because when you are breathing in, then your in-breath brings you to existence, and your out-breath brings you out of existence. And you can also formulate a little bubble of still beingness at the down of your breath, meaning that you can be basically in non-existence with a little bit of existence, which can be a very, very peaceful place to be at. But when you are forcing your breath too much out, then you can end up in areas of complete stupidity or fearfulness. It can also be total peace. But when you stay there for a long time, like a lot of the yogis are doing, then you can also see what else there is with the end of the out breath. So there is many things that we can think about the breath, and we can discover inside the breath. So the more that we are watching our breath, the more that we are watching our breath, the more we are able to understand these tiny things that are in our breath. And the more we get to know our breathing and our breathing patterns, the more we can also see and realize what is inside it and how we can connect to other beings, seeing that this is all universal to all beings. Because breath is something that we all have in our bodies, and where our bodies are functioning around the breath. Or is the breath functioning around our bodies? This is all very interesting. So as you're breathing, then you're probably feeling that the breath can be in any place in your body. With in-breath you come to be, and with out-breath you cease from being. But the ultimate way of how to meditate or include a breath practice in your daily life, which is actually the main things that you would like to do in your daily life, to be in constant state of meditation, and to bring your breath into the place of your heart, where you would like to keep it all the time. I said before that you can keep it on the level of your base, of the place where you are sitting, basically. But in order to be living a full life, you would have to keep it in the heart all the time. It is possible to rest with the breath. So when you are practicing a breathing practice, then what you need to do is you need to understand that you don't stop at the end of the in-breath, and you don't stop at the out-breath at the end there, which would mean a death. Because when you stop there for a while, then you can start feeling, as I said, you can start feeling stupidity, you can start feeling fear. And when you are in these states, it is very tough to do something. So in these states, you would probably go for looking for help from somebody or from some place where there is knowledge about these things. And when you're reading in too much, then you can also get it out of balance. So the ultimate thing would be to connect the breathing, to connect the in-breath and the out-breath, and to bring it into the heart, and to see how it is communicating with you in the heart. So I sincerely hope that it is resonating with you on some level. And when you are thinking about breath, that you are not making yourself too anxious about it. Because whatever the breath is doing it is totally fine. And the more you recognize its doingness, the more you start to understand how it actually works. The more you can get explorative around your breath, and the more you are able to see how to energize yourself with it and how to calm yourself with it. Basically, how to work with the breath. The more you are focusing and expanding your own breathing, the more interesting it can get. And the more you will realize that you don't need to have a several births in the breath or in existence in a certain way. And at the same time, you are realizing that you also don't need to have a non-existence in the breath. So if you are thinking about breathing, it is actually very, very interesting. And now I am also connecting this path that I am talking about with other things. And the very thing that I would like to say right now is that if you put a lot of thoughts around your breath, then they start to make all sorts of complexes there, like a bunch of ideas or plans. And they can make the breathing really, really complex. And then you're starting to feel it in your body. Then you start to feel tension or even a painful feeling in your body. And in this case, you will need to go to this place in your body, being aware of it. And then you will have to start to breathe into this place and to expand the complex that there is. For example, if you are having a complex, meaning a feeling of tension on the lower back of your body, and when you breathe into that area, then you can slowly start to feel that it is creating ease. When you are breathing into the tension bit, because tension can be very painful when it's a painful focus, or when we have some unnecessary thoughts around it. Then breathing into this place helps it to expand and to ease it. So as I was talking about before, about the way how we can breathe out and stay on the out breath level, then when we are trying to, because this is a level where there is actually a lot of non-existence, or we can say in Buddhist terms, they are the lower realms. They are like the ghost realms and the hell beings and animal realms there. And when you are trying to force existence in these places, this makes it extremely painful. It makes it extremely painful. So in these places, what you would like to do would be to breathe in and to find out where is the breath actually taking you, instead of building anxiety around it or even an angry feeling around it. So in this area, you would probably like to just peacefully breathe and see what is the breath actually trying to say to you. That maybe you are doing something that you shouldn't be doing. Maybe there's something better that you could be doing. That maybe your thinking mind is not correct at all. And maybe, and in most cases, most certainly, our bodies are much more wise than our thinking minds can ever be. Because in our bodies, we have all memories saved there. We have our memories saved in our bodies. And when we are going to places and uniting with the places, we can also feel it in our bodies. In any place where we are going, we can merge into these places. We can feel what it is like to be there, how our bodies and minds feel, and when we merge into these places, we can feel incredibly different. For example, when we are in a meditation place or in highly energized place, like a temple or like in Glastonbury, there is this cave where young Jesus, put his stuff down when he was going there with his uncle who was a tin merchant. In these places, highly spiritual places, they are so highly charged that you can feel, even with maybe even in seconds and sometimes in minutes, sometimes in hours, a very deep sense of peacefulness and of clarity. And these are the environments that can very much move us. They can move us and they can bring a big spiritual beingness into our life. So these are the places where a person who is a little bit maybe stuck in their lives or not so open, even these people in these special places and areas can feel a little bit different and can feel that there is something or even somebody greater talking to them, communicating with them. And it's very special when these things happen. Sometimes you even want to stay in these places for many, many days, months, or even years. And you just stay there. And you never want to leave at all. You can stay there until you die. There are special places. But you can also go there just to energize yourself, to bring yourself back to the fullness of your own being, and to get more guidance and clarity in your life. So it is very, very important. It's really important that we have these places and we can be aware of them. That we can go there. Holy places. Holy places are there for a reason. This is what I am trying to say. And when we are sitting there in meditation, then we are also increasing the energy of these places, the meditative energy there, the same energy that will later communicate to the other beings who go there. They will communicate the same way as you were communicated. So when we are going to holy places, we are helping to keep the holiness of them alive. And this is highly important in life, in the world at all. Because these are the places where we can realize very high spiritual attainments. And not only attainments, but also beingnesses. In the Buddhism, they are calling this the fruit of the path. That when you have overcome one obstacle in one place, then you are as if gratified or offered a fruit of the path. You are gratified with reaching a certain level in your spiritual development. And then you are probably feeling a lot of peace. You are probably feeling that things go right in your life. That things really go well. That you are in special correlations. Or that the even universe is somehow sending you some sort of signs or symbols which are communicating with you. And this is very beautiful when it happens. Very, very beautiful and very enlightening. Very, very enlightening. This is what brings a lot of ease into our lives. And we can also decipher these symbols and to try and make sense of them. Make sense of these symbols. To understand what is their meaning and what is it that they are trying to tell us. But once again, and now I'm talking about this thing called restlessness in the Buddhist path. This is with the number 7 in my paper. I feel this is a very, very strange point in our existence, or the world today. Because in this world, and yes, I am using a paper, because I know my mind to get into flying with different ideas, so I can ground myself with this simple paper which I have written, and I just found it again in my things. In the point of restlessness, I find it to be highly important, because in this time of our evolution and development, we have a lot of televisions, computers, and mobile phones. And these are the things that can bring our anxiety and thought patterns so high, so annoyingly high, that we start to create worry around them. Worry and restlessness. We have so many options. Our mobile phones is like our second brains. And if we even had here that a lot of human beings are intrigued by the idea of building robots for us to calm down and to let technology live for us so that we can be more in peace, which from this perspective seems a lot better idea than to criticize technology too much. As I see, technology can also make our idea flow so high. When you're, for example, sitting in a bus every morning going to work, and you see that a lot of human beings are sitting inside their phones, just feeding themselves with so many things that the human body actually is not able to handle all the time. Then you're so much lessening your chances for spiritual development, because you're feeding yourself. And then when you are alone, it can be very tough for you to be alone. So what I'm thinking now is that maybe after the coronavirus time, the big pandemic that we had starting a few years ago, maybe this was the thing that really wanted to offer a teaching to humanity. That maybe we have to start consuming a little less. Maybe we have to stop worrying that much. Maybe we have to think a lot more about our loved human beings, about our friends and family members, our grandmothers, and about our children as well. And then we were supposed to be more secluded in our houses. A lot of people had to die because of it. A lot of hospitals were full of people, and a lot of nurses were doing so many hours of work to help those who are in very difficult states of coronavirus. But spiritually, what I would like to say, and also I would like to add that may all of those beings, may they rest in peace, all of those who had to die out of the coronavirus, and all of their loving relatives and friends. May they also find peace, who are probably very much devastated. May they find peace in those states when their loved ones die. But what I would like to say on spiritual level is that probably this coronavirus came to teach humanity that when we are going too crazy about killing the planet with our big consumerism, then we are decreasing the spiritual development so much that the planet, the world is ultimately unable to exist. And this is very tough, because then in humanity there is not the possibility for enlightenment to be realized. When people are very much in the robot age, then humanity starts to lose meaning and goes into meaninglessness, into high states of depression and anxiety. Very weak diseases. Very big diseases. And to connect it with the breath, we are seeing that the depression is a very low state of breath, and anxiety is a very high state of breath. And a lot of people have them together, the depression and the anxiety, which is also very tough to have it together, because then you don't want to do anything, but you also create anxious thoughts around your sense of being or doing or not doing or not being. And then you are back in depression and you call it a hell. You call it a total hell. And some people start to even scream in these states, scream in the pain, instead of meditation. So in this sense, and I am also saying it because this happened in my life, the fact what I am saying is that coronavirus as a thing, as if a gift to humanity, putting us into seclusion and making us think about existentialism. Because we only ever tend to think about it when there is some sort of a danger. It awakens a survival instinct, and it makes us think about what is actually important in the world, which is our friends and our family members who are actually important, and our well-being as well, all of our well-being. But you can only have well-being when you are loving to each other, loving, harmonious, and accepting. When you are not pressurizing your existence over another, which is what a lot of companies do, just wishing you to buy their things or consume their things. When we are going around, we see a lot of advertisements trying you to be conditioned in this way or that way. And this can also create your mind into a very tough place to be in. It can make your mind a total hell. Even when you feel like you yourself know better, or you have a sense of knowing that there is a much wiser you, but the world around you tries to just force these ideas on you, and you don't really want it to happen. So when the coronavirus came, this made humanity understand it a lot better. And of course, I am very sorry about those who had their loved ones die because of it. I was also having coronavirus, and a very, very bad one. I was in a very, very bad state. And I'm very grateful that I made it alive. That I didn't die because of it. So I know what it can feel like to be there trying to fight for your life. And it's not easy. It's not easy at all. Especially when you're not in a hospital. I was in a different country and I didn't go to a hospital. But I was living together with two friends. And I'm very grateful for the fact that one of my friends was able to help me to take me out on his motorbike and to bring me into restaurants and to feed me with food. He was also carrying me around on his back when I was too weak to walk. So why he took me into restaurants, I don't know. I was extremely in a state of high fogginess and trying to understand why I am seeing myself fly on top of my bed. I had this bed with curtains, so I was lying there. This was Thailand where I was. I was lying there, and then I had this circle on top of there where the curtains came from. And I saw this white enlightening soul or whatever it was like, just floating up there. And I couldn't go there. I don't know where I was, if I was inside my body, or it was me there that I was watching, just thinking if the being there was deciding to die or stay alive. So I wasn't probably inside my body, but I was awake and I couldn't do anything. I couldn't really move also. I had to watch it for hours and hours and hours. And I didn't know what it was going to decide if it will make it or not, if I will stay alive or not. So I am not in any way saying that the coronavirus is only a blessing or a good thing, because I know that human lives can go on an instant with this. And it's pretty painful to be in this state when you don't know if you will make it, or how to even sensibly communicate it to another being who is there and who could help you. So I was in Thailand. I was living together with this, in a big house, with this young artist and with this older man from New Zealand. So the young artist was the one who just started to take care of me as much as he could and to make sure I had something to eat. So he took me out into these local restaurants. And in Thailand, a word restaurant means like a simple eating place. To have rice with chicken. And I'm very, very grateful that he did it, because it is much better to be with somebody who can care about you. Because you can go so delusional there. While at the same time feeling that you're totally awake. So coronavirus can be very, very interesting in spiritual sense. And to have it, feel like it can enlighten you. It can enlighten you, but it can also kill you. It can also make you cease from existence. but it can be very special. A lot of people with near-death experiences have change of lives, change in their lives, and they start being more helpful to other beings. They start realizing that the world is much bigger than themselves. And what they need to do is help other beings to realize the things that they have realized. So this is highly important. Highly, highly important. And if you cannot handle it, you can also choose to pass on. If your body or your soul is ready for it, you can choose to go. Go away or go on. But always it is not up to you. Although on a higher sense it actually is. But not everybody has the capacity to realize it. So when we take the planet wholly, the way that the planet has been so high in electricity and vibrations has made it actually so highly energized place that we have the climate change here and we have so much anxiety around everything. The vibration just went so high. And as I say, is that the earth needed to calm down. And I feel like I really like to talk about these things. Because during the pandemic, I was in the year of 2020, I was luckily able to stay in a secluded place in a monastery of Buddhism. And I was able to meditate through the most difficult times. So I feel like the earth probably needed to calm down. And a lot of it has to also do with the feminine energy in our bodies and in our systems. As females have a different wisdom than males. Ultimately, everybody is wise. But female wisdom is usually more peaceful, while males can be more angry and violent and fight for their intelligence, basically. So when we take, for example, this thing in the existence of time in the world, like the male power, power of intelligence, against the female power, the power of wisdom and peace, then in this sense, what I would like to point out is that we really have to respect the peacefulness of the earth as well. Respect the peacefulness of it and the sacred nature of it. Because when things go out of hand, then the planet itself goes angry, with gods here. Just goes angry. And it makes things happen because it goes angry. The planet always takes care of itself and sustains itself. And humanity have to understand it. Humanity really have to understand it. It allows people to do many things, but then again, it will show that with great evolutions, there is also great losses on Earth. Great losses because the planet needs to rest. Needs to rest. And this is again pointing back to this Buddhist path. The point number 7 called restlessness. The high states of anxiety and thoughts and vibrations and electricity and all of these things that can make ourselves into crazy beings. This is going very, very nicely with the same ideas and concepts that the planet really needs to rest in order to rejuvenate itself. And to keep the existence of humanity going. So I feel this is very, very important topic, and I will probably be talking more about it in general in my future videos. Just to increase the awareness of it and to make you also think and understand the importance of meaning, the importance of humanity, and how to understand it on a wider and grander sense, and not only in the limited sense. To understand what it is that you are consuming and what is the result of your own consumption. Also, how much time do you spend in seclusion yourself, in states of thoughtfulness, in states of meditation, to filter out the things that you are consuming so that you can increase your own wisdom and your own doingness in a way that is in good accordance with the earth, with your path, and helps ultimately you yourself to realize the enlightenment and how to make this path as good for you as possible, to not increase suffering in the world, to have a journey that is meaningful from your birth to your death, and to have it in each and every moment of your life. Because enlightenment can be only realized here and now, this is another thing that I like to say. It's a moment. It's only a moment. And where the moment is born, where it dies, this is also a realization. So I'm pretty grateful to share these thoughts with you and to do it in this place, of meaning, and to also remember those who have passed away, but to remember them well and not to create sadness around it, but to remember their existence and what they have brought to us, what they have brought to humanity, what gifts they have offered, and how they have been in service of humanity. Because ultimately we are all in service. Whatever it is that we are doing, that we are finding meaningful to do. And I also encourage you that when you find things meaningless in your life, then you start to leave them behind. Things that are not for you. To make changes that are necessary to make. And to understand that the world would come up with you only in a way that it does come up with you. Meaning that you are not worrying too much about other people, but you're also putting your own self into importance. That you don't go into deep states of self-loathing and talking about how much you are suffering, but you actually start to increase awareness and realize what are the causes of your own suffering and what are the effects that come out of it. Because very often what our minds can do, they can put us as if on a loop of a certain story, doing the same story again and again and again, without realizing that the story itself is feeding itself, like a washing machine or like a hamster circling around, just in a circle, cannot get out of it. Or even like simple thing like a clock ticking. But clock ticking can also be a very nice meditation. To think about time and to ultimately realize that the clock also goes around and around and around. And we are actually not in a hurry anywhere, which again starts to expand our present moment. And when it expands our present moment, we are realizing the timelessness and the immeasurable nature of our existence. We are realizing another human being and how we can be kind to them, how we can be kind to one another, how we can choose compassion instead of anger, and how from these states our own lives also get better. And this is very, very beautiful when we have these realizations. So talking about these subjects actually makes me myself very happy and in service of humanity on a grander sense, which is important, and to do it without feeling that I am giving too much. So another thing that I like to point out is that when you yourself are doing the right things that you are supposed to be doing, then quite likely you understand that you are never giving too much, that the things that you are doing are helping you to do the next thing. All I like to say is that the more you do, the more you realize the amount of how much you can do. And to realize this is very, very good. This is something that helps you have more motivation and understanding that you actually do want to do these things. It will help you understand the joy of doing the things that you find meaningful. And it will help you to continue doing them, to sustain the meaning of it, to remember it, and to find your own self being in a state of service. In a state of service without feeling that you are being used or abused, but only with a feeling of gratification. Because when you are doing the right thing, then you probably want to do it. And you find your service to be only gratifying, which is highly important, because only then you will find some meaning in your life, which is the most important thing in the whole world, to find the meaning of life and to find the truth, to find the meaning of life and to find the truth in your own heart in so certain way that you have no doubt in it, that you don't have a single doubt about it, and you just know it so well and so strongly that this thing in yourself will help you keep on going and walking on that path. So I find it important to say it to you, and I hope that you are also finding it important to hear. And if you already know it, then you are finding it probably very, very happy and important to be remembered again and again and again. So this is also where I say that there is a Buddhist path where you can find very simple steps or the logic of it, just putting it together and understanding it. But there is also and ultimately your own life path. And this is where you are probably understanding and realizing that you are your own guru, that I am my own guru, and whatever I am doing right now, I am the heir to my own actions. There are causes and there are effects, and it just is like this. And it's highly important to realize it. So, if you feel like this topic has communicated with you, then I encourage you to increase the awareness of it. And to also think about these things and talk about these things. And I encourage it very, very much. If you like what I am doing, then probably your own beingness feels also the peace and joy of sharing it. So again, finding this meaningful place in this Aberforth'S little living place, just out of the mirror where the secret society or the secret order is living, to come here to the Aberforth place and to find food to sustain the order. This is very, very important that we remember these stories and how meaningful they are. So with these ideas, I would like to just thank you for your kind attention, for surviving this talk. And I hope that everything in your life will go well, and things will go as they're supposed to go. So I am wishing you a lot of well-being and a beautiful continuation of your day, of your night, and of your life. So may you be well, and I hope to see you soon again. Thank you very, very much.